Hundreds of thousands of people from around the world have participated in a lifestyle that allows them to travel around the world using the internet in its innumerable platforms to sustain a living. Aptly called digital nomads, Canadians as well are part of this mobile workforce. Whether it be Thailand, Malaysia, Mexico, or Italy, you'll find proud Canucks uploading videos to YouTube, writing for online publications, acting as freelance digital marketers, or any of the hundreds of jobs available to any individual with some skills, a laptop computer, and a cafe with an internet connection. However, with the onslaught of COVID-19 and the subsequent lockdown of most international borders, the future of the traveling self-employed is not nearly as bright as it was just a few months ago. Today in the Canadian Expat, we ask the question, is this the end to the era of the digital nomad? Today, I'm delighted to welcome Greg Hung, an entrepreneur who began his digital nomad lifestyle in 2013. Among other things, he's an instructor with his own online courses, a content producer, videographer, and digital marketer. We've been able to catch up with Greg in Malaysia, where he is effectively locked down due to restrictions of crossing borders. Greg, welcome to the Canadian Expat.
Thanks, Al.
Greg, for the past 7 years or so, you've been living what many would consider to be the traveler's dream, right? Has it been all that it's made out to be?
It's had its highs and lows, especially, if you've been doing this for 7 years, there's a lot of people that give it a test run for a short time, like maybe a month, and then they go back to normal life. So yeah, the longer you're doing it and the more countries that you try, each has its own pros and cons.
Now, I know you've written about this in your blog, and we'll definitely put a link to the description, or a link to your blog in the description of this video. But is this the end of the era of the digital nomad?
Well, yeah, it's funny because I just wrote an article about it this week. Yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty, and I've been giving it a lot of thought because, as long as there's restrictions on travel, and I think even if we do get back to some normal life, find a vaccine, there's still going to be a lot of I think there's going to be a lot of questions being asked by foreign countries for travelers. But at the same time, there's a lot of countries like Thailand that depend heavily on tourism. So there's a lot of factors in play. But you're starting to see, I guess, for first time or in a long time for many countries, they're locking out other countries. Right. So when you put those in place, it's just unclear whether it's going to be, whether they're going to return back to normal or just have some version in between. And what is that going to look like in terms of visas, right? Mm-hmm. Which is something that a digital nomad always battles with. And then, part of it's not essential to the lifestyle, but things like co-work spaces and Airbnbs and just the appetite for travel, that's all going to be affected as well. So, yeah, so I'm taking it, I'm just trying to enjoy. I've been doing this for a while, and I do have like a life here, but with the way things are going, I'm just trying to treasure the time that I have here because, who knows? Mm-hmm. Who knows what it's going to look like in the future?
Of course, I've been back in Canada for now, almost 15 years. And this, of course, it wasn't an issue at the time, but I've spoken to a number of people back here, and people are questioning whether or not there might be blame assigned to expats or digital nomads. You know, in a time of crisis, we know that blame is often assigned to outsiders, and an easy target might be people such as yourself who are those digital nomads. Have you found or experienced anything like that in Malaysia, for example? Do you find that people are pointing their finger towards you?
No, I mean, I tend to kind of blend in Asia. They think I'm, appearance-wise, they think I'm the local, whether I'm in Thailand or Taiwan or here. So I haven't seen anything in Malaysia. It's actually quite an accepting country to begin with. But from the Malaysia, number of cases have actually come from religious gatherings. I think, at the mosques. So, the cases did start out from those clusters. But I've read about some stories on Facebook from my friends, in Vancouver, where there has been some anti-Asian sentiment, and I've read about it in the U.S. So that could be interesting. See what comes out of that. Even I heard my friend in Thailand, there's some people living on the Hill tribes, and they've shut their entrance to their properties, even from Thai people.
It's unfortunate, it's one thing that the world doesn't need right now is more reasons to exclude other groups, right? Or to be more discriminatory to anybody at all.
Yeah, that's, as some people think they react differently when we have, these maybe once in a lifetime type of events. So, unfortunately, we're seeing different behaviors come out.
Now, I know that you are one of the currently about 1,500 Canadians that have received that emergency loan from Global Affairs Canada. They've got a backlog of another 2,000 or so that they need to get through, apparently. But how was that process when you applied for that emergency loan?
Well, I think it was a bit easier for me because I posted something to my Facebook feed complaining about the cost of the flights back. I remember Trudeau made an announcement on the news saying it's time to come home. So then I started looking at flights because I originally had a flight scheduled in June, which has now been canceled. And I just saw flights for 5,000 Canadian from Air Canada one way. And I just thought that was ridiculous. So I posted something, and then my friend sent me the link to the Canadian Abroad website. So I followed the trail. Sent an email to get an application number, and then they asked some questions, and they wanted proof of costs to get back home, the costs over here. And then after that was a phone call. And then after the phone call, they basically tell you whether you're approved or not. And then, it was pretty quick, direct deposit after that.
Well, Greg, thank you so much for spending the time today. I appreciate that, giving us some insight into what it's like to be a digital nomad, but also your thoughts on the situation.
Yeah, you're welcome, Al.
And thank you very much for watching. If you've liked the video, please hit like. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Until next time.